You have managers working for you who don't like being required to manage remote teams. Managing remote workers goes against every fibre of their being. It feels like the opposite of everything they have been taught to do as a leader and manager. If you continue to require your managers to adopt remote and flexible ways of working, many of them will look for the exit door. And in fact, several high-profile pieces of research have shown recently that record numbers of people are looking for the exit door, something the media is calling the Great Resignation. Managers are part of this group, and the reason is that they are not equipped to lead and manage flexible workers. They are not ready for it, and they don't know how. A few weeks ago, I heard about a leader, a middle manager, who typified this type of manager. He'd been dealing with a number of requests to work from home when he called a team meeting to discuss the situation. The discussion was a one-way conversation, which he summarised in email later. Given we're a unique project having to deliver some big work over tight timelines, my preference is to have people in the office as much as possible. He outlined that the planned work from home schedule would be minimal. Now, if you're aware of the size of the demand for flexibility among employees and their expectation that they will be supported to work flexibly, you can imagine how well this went down with the leader's team. They were not pleased. In fact, one of them was incredulous and went out of his way to tell me the story. So this situation demonstrates something I've seen since I first started working with workplace leaders creating flexible workplaces back in 2011. The opportunity for flexibility is only as good as the organisation's capability across a number of areas. And at the simplest level, these capabilities are in the areas of mindset, meeting, and mobility. And from my experience, I could make a reasonable prediction that this leader hasn't developed his mindset for flexible ways of working. He hasn't got comfortable with managing remote workers, and he is probably struggling to manage according to outcomes. He finds himself relying on more subjective indications of commitment rather than productivity, and it's also likely that he has not developed his capacity to make the most of online communication opportunities that would help his team meet and communicate in various ways to connect, collaborate, and share information. And at the end of the day, he is not comfortable managing his team while they're working remotely. So the most common mistake workplace leaders make when they try to establish flexible ways of working is they fail to address all parts of the workplace experience. Their focus tends to settle on hard infrastructure to create mobility, leaving two critical capabilities in the dust: the right mindset for flexible ways of working and the right meeting behaviours, which encompasses communication. You might say, isn't technology the most critical capability required for flexible ways of working? And of course, technology is a critical function for flexibility. And workspace design is critical as well. People can't change their ways of working without these critical enablers. An executive team member once asked me this question in a meeting with her executive peers. Would I confirm that technology was the most important of all the enablers? And I just couldn't do that because that is simply not the case. Technology is important, but only as an enabler of one key capability. Nonetheless, the hard stuff that enables mobility is where people tend to get stuck in their thinking. This is the point where their curiosity about how to create flexible ways of working tends to stop. Some workplace leaders won't realise just how much work there is to do on their other two capability areas, meeting and mindset, because they do not have a clear understanding of the current workplace experience. Slack and McKinsey are two prominent voices decrying the disconnection between what executive workplace leaders think their employees are experiencing in the workplace and their actual experience. I hear one further objection to the view that technology and workspace design alone are enough to create flexible ways of working. And that view is that changing mindset and meeting capabilities are easy, that it can be done by change managers, and we should leave it at that. Now, I need a whole other blog post to refute that futile view. So what can you do if you have managers who are deeply uncomfortable with managing remote teams? Firstly, get to grips with your managers and other employees' current workplace experience. How well are they feeling supported to manage and to work flexibly? Secondly, review the learning and development opportunities that you've given your managers to help them develop the mindset and skills that will enable them to manage remote teams successfully. And thirdly, consider, instead of traditional learning and development, an experiential learning opportunity where managers have the chance to actively trial and adapt their skills over a couple of months with access to support. We incorporate this experiential learning into our emergent change approach and get fantastic results. We've discovered it is entirely possible to implement flexible ways of working successfully in your organisation, even if a portion of your managers are reluctant at this point. Our emergent change approach helps to bring resistant managers with you on the journey. If you would like to speak to the professionals about how to proceed, schedule an information call today. Talk with you soon.